Let's get it started just like this. Welcome to the Hardway Project.
Hey, welcome everybody to the Hardway Project. It's episode 2. Again, I'm Charles, and I'm here with John Mark. What's
Hey,
up?
y'all.
What's going on, brother?
Hey, great week, man. Looking forward to tonight. Got a lot to cover. Just a reminder for folks out there, we are officially up on X and Instagram. You can check our channels in the description below. The Hardway Project is live. Go find us, follow along, jump in the conversation. We're building this thing in real time, man.
We're building a plane while it's flying.
That's right. Just kind of like what we talked about on our trailer. You know, we're not a hot take show. That's not what Charles and I are trying to do. We're not chasing clicks, trying to piss people off, and we certainly aren't doing fantasy booking. We're trying to understand wrestling, and I think that, you know, if you take a look at Charles and kind of what he talked about, we go back and we talk about some of our. If you're new here, we don't do a hot take show. You know, we're not chasing outrage, and we're not doing fantasy booking in the universe. We're trying to understand wrestling, and it comes back to the fundamental question, like, why does it feel different now? And when does it still hit? What does pressure actually do to performers and stories? And my gosh, man, in the world of wrestling this week, I mean, there's a lot of freaking things that happen that kind of directly tie into that, Charles.
Yeah, absolutely. We got tons to
it.
talk about. You know, like you said, we're not here for the hot takes or the, you know, that type of culture. But hey, man, some of our takes people may not agree with or find ridiculous, and that's okay. You know.
Yeah.
But that's not why we're here. But we like to debate, and who doesn't like a fantasy booking, right? Like we all, you know, it's kind of sometimes you just do it and you don't even realize it. But that's not what we're about. We may say some stuff like that here and there, but yeah, that's not what we're about. Absolutely. So, brother, you watched Raw this last Monday?
Yeah, I did, and we're going to talk about some of the stuff that happened in Raw. I guess I'll go ahead and just kind of like start off with one thing, which is like Javon Evans.
Bro,
I told you, man. The kid's got it, man.
He does, man. What is he, like 23?
Oh, I mean, I remember you texted me right after that spot. I mean, that was perfectly executed, and it was a thing of beauty. It was great. And I noticed at Rumble, like, it's not just about him and his high-flying spots. Like, the guy works. Like, he's out there every week working. And I don't know. I think he's a superstar in the making. What do you think?
I couldn't agree more, man. The guy he holds his own, and he's so young, and he's such a high flyer. Like, probably the most athletic guy out there, to be honest. Like, he's athletic like a luchador, but he's big. Like, I don't know how tall he is. He must be at least 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", somewhere in there. And just flying, man. He's doing moves I've never seen before or haven't seen in a long time. And you're right, he works. He holds his own in the ring. He's just not a high flyer.
Yep.
Of course, those are his spots that he flashes with. But just overall, man, like, he's like 23, 24 years old, something like that, man. You would never guess. You know, I haven't heard him too much on the mic.
Right.
Obviously, those skills are going to have to develop. But in ring, he can tell a story wrestling. And I think that's probably over half the battle.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, with time, you know, I think he probably could, you know, get better on the mic.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, you know, there are very few talent in my observation that comes out of the gate like red hot on the mic, right? Like it takes reps. It takes a lot of work to develop your character. I'm not a wrestler, so I don't know, but like I would suspect it just requires a lot of work and feedback and opportunities to go out there and perform. I mean, every time I turn on TV, both when he was at NXT and then when he came into Raw, he was always out there working, man. So it'll come along. There's no doubt in my mind. He's got the look. He's got the athleticism. He puts that together. He's going to have a long career in this business.
No, absolutely. And you're right. It takes time to develop that your mic skills. Even The Rock. The Rock to me is the best on the mic by far. There's no comparison. But he didn't come into his own on the mic until he started breaking away from the Nation Domination, if you remember that. Mm-hmm. Like when he was like, when Ron Simmons, Farouk was the leader, but then The Rock came and was like, no, I'm the leader. That's when his mic skills really came to the forefront, and you could see them developing. So yeah, you're right. It just takes time, and I think you need to have a character. You know,
that's right. Yeah. I mean, this really is in life in general. Again, I've never wrestled before, and I don't know enough about what goes on behind the curtain. But I have lived for 52 years, and it's hard.
A little bit of life experience, right?
And it's hard to follow in the footsteps of giants, right? Because you're always going to have this pressure to want to be the next Dwayne Johnson, to be the next Ric Flair, right? you're always going to want to have that. People are always going to be compared to those guys, right? And to me, I like it when I see young talent come into their own and develop their own unique character. That to me is something that I enjoy watching, as they get more reps, as they get more work, as they put more work in, right? Yeah. So it's hard.
Sky's the limit for that dude.
Be compared to guys like that.
Yeah, the sky's the limit for that dude, man. Like, you just watch it and he jumps off your screen. And it's just, you can't mistake that talent. So I hope the WWE does him solid, man. Pushes him like they need to push him, gives him reps, and just don't waste that talent.
Yeah. Well, kind of related to getting in reps and talent, I want to talk a little bit about Cody Rhodes. So over this past week, he said something in one of the podcasts, and forgive me for not, I'll actually have to go back and figure out which one it is. But like he mentioned that, he's kind of pitched the idea to WWE management that they run a weekend of house shows per month. And so there are different ways that he proposed that they could market it. And I guess the idea would be, from Cody's perspective, is to build the locker room, give more talent experience in front of live crowds, the old school feel that people like you and me, we like, right? And so that really gets at what you were mentioning. When you have 2 hours of Netflix or you have 2 hours of SmackDown, those superstars are going to get a good chunk of that time. And some of the mid-carders and even the lower card folks aren't even going to get on that TV, right? But a lot of the mid-card guys aren't going to get a lot of time to put in the work. So what Cody is recommending is more opportunities to work here. Is that what this is about? Or do you think this is hype? Do you think this is just him trying to create controversy in the WWE verse?
I don't know, man. Cody, I think Cody has a lot of sway when it comes to it, but we got to remember WWE is a publicly traded company. So they're going to do whatever their investors tell them to do. They could care less about me and you and the fan. I'll be honest. They're going to do what their investors tell them to do, what's going to make them the most money. They have responsibility to their investors, not to us.
That's right.
And when a person realizes that, you stop getting your feelings hurt.
That's right.
So, I love house shows, man. I remember to this day, brother, and you probably can relate, man, because you're in the DC area. I was a young soldier stationed on Walter Reed, circa 2000. This was before 9/11, so circa like 2000. I got free tickets from my first sergeant to go to WWE house show in Baltimore. I didn't know it was a house show, but it was in Baltimore, right? And I forget where it was at in Baltimore. It wasn't a nice place, but it was a house show. And this was like 2000, right? So WWE wasn't where it's at now. It was kind of, but I remember, and I'm not even a huge fan of him, but I just remember Triple H being the star that he was at a house show, taking crazy chair shots, doing high flyer off the rope stuff, just putting his body through craziness for a house show. And so ever since then, man, I've had so much respect for Triple H, man. He really, for a house show that meant nothing, he laid it on the line. I remember that to this day, man. And just on house shows, man, I think it's a lot of talent nowadays. They come up through the WWE development program, right? Where they have their own program. It's not like back in the days when you're in the territories where you getting all this work in every, week. You're getting tons of work in, and then eventually you get called up to the big stage, right? When you're ready. Now with the development program those guys don't get that work, I don't think they get, maybe not the wrestling work, but the work, how to work a crowd, right? Because this development program, there's no crowds, right? They're just wrestling for a majority of it. So I think being able to work a crowd, I think that's missing today. And I think that house shows will help develop that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you're right. Like, now we have NXT, right? Whereas back in the days, I guess the WWE had a relationship like with OVW, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, right?
Yeah.
And they served as kind of like a pipeline to get talent ready.
It's like the minor leagues,
Yeah. But now you have NXT, and, the critics would probably say, well, they're taking a lot of bumps. They're not going to have as much longevity, right? Because if they're working more, I don't know. I mean, there's a balance to be struck here. And at the end of the day, it really comes down to the talent being able to sway our emotions, to make us want to occupy that precious 18 inches of space, right, in a chair, or to subscribe to a streaming service. And so he could be touching upon something that maybe is missing in the product today, that he feels more reps is needed.
Right. And the thing is with NXT, that's part of the development program for WWE. But the thing is, they're afraid to make mistakes in NXT. Right. Mm-hmm. Because it's still televised it's still, some of it's live. Like it's still like you can't. It's hard for a wrestler that's coming up and trying to make it to try new stuff out in NXT because if it fails, it's going to look poorly on them. If you have a wrestler coming up and they're doing a house show and it fails, well, they can recover from that because no one saw that but the people in the house show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's more of a
100%.
training ground than an NXT would be, kind of like similar to the Army, right? When we trained at JRTC, like that's the time to mess up and learn from it as opposed to when you're really, bullets are flying. So I think a house show would do that.
Yeah. And we were talking about Jade, and this is like the third straight episode where we've talked about Jade Intent.
It's all right.
Jade McCargill. She's awesome. And I say I love her because she's an awesome talent. And I stand by that. Generational talent. I wouldn't throw that out there. She has the look. She's got the mic skills, and I think she can wrestle, right? Like she's good.
She's getting better. Absolutely.
Yeah. But like, here's the problem. I believe wrongly, but we can discuss both sides. She's taking a lot of heat right now for basically not having a championship run, right? We're talking regular defenses, visible
She has
struggle.
domain defenses.
Yeah.
And
so I guess the question is that a Jade McCargill problem or is it a booking problem? We really don't know because we don't have like a visibility behind the curtain, but like this isn't a championship run. I feel like she's just being booked to give a presentation, to be seen and not to wrestle.
And to kind of hold the belt, right? Because it's like, I feel like they don't know who else to put it on right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's weird, man, because you don't know what's happening behind the scenes. You don't know if maybe she got injured.
Right.
She's unable to wrestle or whatever the case is. Maybe, some personal issues, who knows? It's like, we all know Naomi, right? She had a baby.
Mm-hmm.
So she's out of the mix. But that's kind of known, the lack of kayfabe nowadays, right? You with Instagram and everybody you're following wrestlers, you kind of know what's going on in their personal life to a degree. With Jade, there's really none of that. So I'm not sure what's going on and why she hasn't wrestled in so long, but definitely curious about it because I think she could be so dominant if they book her right.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the bottom line is, at least in my opinion, she looks like a star. She carries herself like a star, but she's not being allowed to wrestle like a star right now. And she has to, if you're carrying the strap, you have to do it every day, consistently. Now, we should be fair. Take a look at the guys who hold the strap. Do we see CM Punk wrestle every week? We don't. So, we have to be fair in how we respond to some of these takes. Again, when I don't know, I always err on the side of talent, and I have a bias towards thinking it's a booking problem. I just think that she's just too good to have a championship reign like this. And I would like to see her have a strong run into WrestleMania. I really would. Yeah,
absolutely, man. And really not even defending her title. You don't see her too much on SmackDown or Raw, right? Whereas, you talked about CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, guys like that, like they're not going to wrestle every night, but you're going to see them, right? They're going to be involved somehow in the storyline,
That's right.
So,
yeah,
it's just curious, right? Curious.
Yeah. Something, but again, does it tied? Is it booking? I don't think it's a reps thing for her. I think she's got it. She's shown she has it. There's something else out there. So, talk to you a little bit about, before we get into your deep dive, I want to talk to you a little bit about something that actually two more things. The first thing we'll talk about is Royce Key's Rumble debut. Did you notice when he came out, like it was dead when he walked out for Rumble?
Didn't like a little bit, right? But I was more, the whole Rumble was kind of dead, right? Because of the location, right? So it was kind of, you just looked at the empty seats and whether they're empty or not, I don't know. They looked empty, but because that's a lot of them, they put LED lights on each seat, which made them look empty. Like whose bright idea was that? Like, come on now.
Hey man, I used to plan events and run events, and here's the bottom line: if it looks empty, it's empty. Period.
Right. Especially on, especially like we said, it's a $1 billion publicly traded corporation. You think somebody would have checked that, but no, I didn't really notice he was that dead. I mean, I think the whole Royal Rumble was dead. I know when he got in the ring though, man, he's undeniable, right? Like just his presence.
Yeah.
Really undeniable. And I'm like, oh damn, like he's here,
That's right. No. And I bring that up because he's one of the guys at AEW I tracked, and dude's a beast, man. And usually when someone from another promotion comes in, there's usually a pop, right? There's a lot of excitement. As you said last time, it gets your juices flowing as you're getting into Rumble, right? and he did great in the ring. I mean, he is a beast. But like AEW doesn't film, excuse me, AEW doesn't shown over in Saudi Arabia.
That's what it was. They knew who he was.
They knew who he was. So who the hell booked that? Like, you want to bring him to the place where he's known by people who also watch AEW, then you're going to get your pop. So I think they botched his debut. I think that would have been better to have him roll out.
I didn't think of that. Dude, that's a solid take, man. I didn't even think of that. That's a solid take, man. And, you know, him, obviously, he's going to agree to it. Like, hey, let me come out of the Royal Rumble. It's going to be huge. But, you know, if you, on the surface, that looks cool. But if you dig into it, man, that's probably not the right time. You know, like let's wait till Raw or SmackDown's in his home city or home state where everybody knows him. And that would have more of a pop than, you know.
Yeah. I mean, they rolled out CM Punk coming in from AEW in the States.
Of course. Yeah, and they're going to probably do it in Chicago, right?
Right.
Just so you get the biggest pop, you know?
Right.
That's a smart thing, but maybe the way his contract is structured, they had to put him in the Royal. Who knows, you know? Yeah. But I think short term, that it looked good, but I think you know, looking at it long term, it probably wasn't the smartest thing in the world, but
yeah,
you know.
Well, I definitely want to spend just a little bit of time talking about Roman Reigns and CM Punk. I guess it has to be said up front. Punk's going to get his WrestleMania main event match. He's been waiting for his whole life. He's got it, right? That's awesome.
If he would have stayed in WWE, he would have had it already, but that's another subject altogether.
But that's the thing that I loved about their promo, and I'm just going to kind of kick it over to you. Like, what did you think about their promo? How did it like make you feel, and did it get you amped up?
It definitely got me amped up, man. It made me, it hit for me. I think it hit for the audience as well. Honestly, that's the best. Like, Roman Reigns had like I forget exactly what it was, but he had like on the mic, he had a little kind of slip up. He had a little kind of like, I forget what he said, but it wasn't right. You could see he like said it and then it was like, oh, that wasn't right. But then CM Punk came in and saved him. Right, on the mic. But the overall going back and forth, I thought it was like one of the best that I've seen recently, especially of Roman Reigns. Because I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of Roman Reigns on the mic. His mic work has never done it for me. Right, he's more body language. Yeah, and he's a body language guy. He tells a story by his body language, which is totally cool, which is totally fine. It's just another way to convey information. And so see him on the mic really hold his own with CM. Obviously, CM Punk kind of, you know, helped him out there and saved him a little bit. Yeah, I liked it, man. I was excited. You know, I think Roman Reigns coming back. Obviously, you know, he has cancer. No joke. Like, wrestlers with with blood cancer. Mm-hmm. Just proves like what a warrior that dude is, like a legit warrior that guy is. And for him to come back, get, you know, to wrestle again and just, you know, I think we're lucky to see Roman Reigns in his prime, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I love the promo, and it crescendoed right until the climactic end. At first, when Punk started up, I was a little confused because like he jumped into the ring and then he looked at the camera and then he talked about his upcoming match with Finn Balor while Roman Reigns was sitting there. I thought that was kind of funny. And Roman was like had that look on his face. It was like, are you serious right now? But you know, the other thing, and I think that this is at the core of the storyline that really takes us into Mania, is that their promo really centered around each other's longevity or consistency with the business, right? They each accuse one another of, you know, either being there in CM Punk's case, you know, for extended period of time because he went to the competition, right? Yep. Or Punk saying, hey, I'm here every single day and you're here never. And what I saw was that exchange. It actually drew pretty strong reactions from the crowd. Like, I was like, okay, I think they touched on the right point of friction between those two.
Especially on Punk, because he'll never live that down, him leaving WWE like that.
That's right.
The way he left, he'll never live that down. That will always be like an ace in the hole for Roman Reigns or whoever he's beefing with at the time to bring that up, you know, because he's not a company guy, right? Where Roman Reigns, definitely a company guy. So, yeah, no, interesting dynamic.
Well, I mean, Roman said he hates Punk and he wants Punk to acknowledge him, you know? I mean, there you go. I mean, the stage is set. And I guess, well, no, they're both baby faces, right? I think this is a clash of two superstars with big egos, big legacies, and they don't like each other. that's the story.
Yeah, that's they're both really baby faces, and the crazy part is CM Punk's turned into a baby face over the years, where he's because before he was never like some people liked him, but he was always that like rebel, that like outsider type guy, right? And all of a sudden on this go around, I don't know if it's his interest music, Living Color. I don't know what it is, but people like him all of a sudden, myself included. I find myself liking him. Whereas before, man, I really didn't care for him at all, but yeah.
I think one of these days I'll have to deep dive Punk, because he's a complicated character for sure. And
most of them are, but he's very complicated. Yeah.
He's complicated. I think my wife refers to him as like a thinking man's wrestler,
Okay.
It's interesting. I mean, we're not going to deep dive Punk, so I don't want to spend too much time on him. I want to say that like his two most memorable promos was the pipe bomb. And I guess it really wasn't a promo. It was his press conference with AEW, right? With Tony Khan up there. Like, I would think that he would want to be remembered more than just that. But then again, we still talk about it today. It has like, it is part of the fabric of his character that he's like that. So he's a complicated guy, and now he's a company man, right?
Yep, absolutely. Or you kind of got to be, right. Him and Triple H, I guess, buried the hatchet somewhere down the line, and those two legit hated each other at one point or for a long time. So just hearing some stories from behind the backstage, you're like, man, you didn't think Punk was ever going to come back.
Yep. Well, one thing too about another storyline between these two is their barbs at each other's families. I thought that was kind of fun, taking a shot at AJ Lee, and then Punk making a comment about his family, and he's like, be careful about like talking about my family. That is Roman Reigns. I love that.
And I think, and this probably will tickle you, man, like with Roman Reigns back, I think there's a possibility of like maybe another bloodline run.
I'm here for it, man.
With these, Jacob Fatu and these other Samoans, man. Like, I think, man, they're strong, dude. They're strong. Like, I think, man, the ingredients are there, man. You just got to press play, I think, and it will run,
There is some really good Samoan talent right now. Really good. So speaking of talent, this is the part of the episode where we're going to do a deep dive, and Charles has deep dive duty this week. And I am so excited to hear, because he's one of my favorite guys from my favorite era. I'm going to kick it over to you, Charles. Talk to us about Booker T.
Yeah, man, Booker T. So really picked Booker T, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I picked him for a couple of reasons. Well, number one, it's Black History Month, right? And I think Booker T deserves that, because I think he doesn't get the respect that he deserves. I think he's criminally underrated. So his Black History Month, let's talk about Booker T. Because Booker T just didn't win titles. He broke barriers. He carried companies. He carried the WCW when WCW was crumbling. And the thing is, when he carried the WCW, wrestling wasn't at its time where it pushed characters like Booker T. Not just in the race realm, but overall realm, and I think he broke barriers by that, because he saw he carried a company as a African-American wrestler when you have Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, Diesel, these other, white superhuman characters. But then you have Booker T, right? And he's the one that carried WCW in the dark days. Mm-hmm. And transitioning, WCW goes out of business. WWF, WWE signs some of the WCW talent. Most of them sit on the shelf and just sit out their contract. Booker T's the one that made that he's the only one that, in my eyes, that made that smooth transition from WCW to WWF. And I don't think that gets talked about enough. Mm-hmm. Like how he made that transition, because most of those guys that came over from WCW, the WWE talent shit on those guys. Yeah. They didn't want them over because they're going to steal money from them, basically. More talent, less money to go around initially, so, but Booker T's the only one that made that transition almost seamlessly. 5-time WCW champ, 1-time WWE champion. People don't realize him and his brother, the Harlem Heat, 10-time WCW tag team champions, 10 times. Like, holy crap. Like, so yeah, that he was the hardcore champion. People don't realize he's a hardcore champion. I think he's held every belt. I'll be honest. He's held the American title. He's held the heavyweight, and he's held the WWE championship. So he's held every belt. I think I look back and there's not one. He doesn't have one needs improvement in his overall wrestling. His overall wrestling like resume. On the mic, I think he was one of the best, especially with his brother. Like they fed off each other. If you look at those old Harlem Heat promos, fire.
Yep.
And I ain't just talking the one when he's talking about Hulk Hogan.
That's right.
Hulk Hogan, we coming for you, right? That was every time that comes up on my like feed, I play it and laugh. Like that's just it's hilarious to me. But mic work, I think top tier. Wrestling ability, just out of this world wrestling ability. And this dude was so athletic and talented. If you look at it, especially his younger days, like when he was with Harlem Heat, I mean, he was a high flyer. And people don't realize that, like, as a big dude, he was a high flyer. He just so underrated. And then what's crazy is at the time when he went from WCW to WW, him and Austin, they put him and Austin against each other. Like he was his rival. And to go from like WCW to the top of WWE where you're kind of, I think The Rock was doing a movie or something. And so they put Booker T as a heel towards, and I only know they're just two superstars towards Austin. And we all know the grocery store vignette.
That's right.
One of the greatest vignettes of all time. Like getting in a fight in the grocery store. I think the bill was like $20-some thousand when they were done. Just hilarious.
Almost like an APA bar bust up.
Yeah, man. It was so good. So good. And Austin just raves about like how good he was. Like he didn't. Yeah. There isn't one other wrestler that can speak badly about him. I haven't heard of one, of him having any real beef behind the scenes. Behind the curtain, I think he was from what I hear, just consummate professional, kept it business, was always did the right thing for business. He wasn't a Terry Hogan saying, this won't work for me, brother. Right. He did what was right for business. He put people over. Man, like there isn't one kink in his armor. Yeah. There isn't. And when people talk about the Mount Rushmore of wrestling, he's always left off. It's always like Taker, Hogan, Stone Cold, and The Rock. Yep. Some people got Flair up there. I don't. But some people got Flair up there and whatnot, maybe Cena. But for some reason, Booker T is like he's just forgotten about. I don't know if I don't think it's a racial thing. It may play a part for some people, but I think it's more of he was in that weird transition era. Right, with WCW and then transition to WWE. And during that time, it was WWE wasn't as hot as it is obviously right now or later in the Ruthless Aggression era. And I think he just kind of got lost in the mix, because I think a lot of people at that time in the WCW wasn't really following WCW when it was white hot, with the Outsiders and the NWO.
I mean, you bring up a really interesting point because when you think about it, like it's almost like Booker T, his whole legacy is about being a survivor, right? Like, let's face it, man, a lot of guys, even a successful 5-time WCW champion, very successful in that promotion, he was successful when he had all that politics and all that instability and that just horrible management, right?
In the WCW as an African American, which is
and he survived, and then he made the transition to WWE. And I watched a documentary about him. And it was a great story where, like, he was one of the guys that Vince wanted to bring over and put over, right? Whereas he wanted to bury a lot of other guys. They said that he came into the locker room and was shaking everyone's hands, introducing himself, and just being very open. Hey, do you have any advice for me as I settle into WWF at that time, right? That he just made that transition there in that very difficult time. And then when you ask about why he's not on the Mount Rushmore, I mean, I have to believe that his beef with Triple H had something to do with that.
He works for WWE now, though. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think he's obviously, I don't know, man. Like he's in good graces now. He works for WWE. Obviously, he works NXT. He's one of the dudes down there.
He has a wrestling school.
Yeah, and you could see it's funny, man. Like behind the scenes or behind the curtain. Like, so he's from Houston, right? This was the Royal Rumble in San Antonio 2023 I was at. He came out, and that was the biggest pop I've ever heard like, holy, I'm close to Houston. So, obviously he's a fan favorite here. But when he came out, his music hit, man. Of course, he got thrown out in about 30 seconds. He's in his 50s, so he's not going to win the Royal Rumble anytime soon. But man, it was epic to see, the pop and the love that just the South Texas has for him.
Yeah.
And to hear his story where he came from, man, like he's a self-made dude, man. Like I think he served some time for like a Robin of Wendy's or something,
Yeah.
and then made it out from this, somehow got into wrestling just because he's a physical specimen. And, here 50 years later, we're still talking about him, or 40 years later, we're talking about him. So yeah, I think he belongs on the Mount Rushmore, man. I don't know who I would take off and put him there, but he definitely should be in that conversation.
Well, I mean, and here's another thing, Charles, that I think is often overlooked, and that is how versatile he is, right? In terms of his character.
He can do anything. King Booker.
King Booker, right? He was hilarious.
King Booker. Yep. It was hilarious.
Yeah, and he had really good chemistry with Goldust too. They had some fantastic promos, hilarious promos.
Goldust was doing his like gay thing, right? He was acting like he wanted to kiss him, and he was trying to touch him and stuff. It was hilarious.
Undercover. And it was funny because Dustin looked like he was always trying to get Booker to break, right?
Yep.
And he broke him a couple of times because those two just had great chemistry. But like, here's the thing. I know a lot of people like shit talk comedy wrestling, right? It's become fashionable. I personally think that's just a fundamental part of being a good wrestler, in my opinion. I shouldn't say being a good wrestler because I was never a wrestler. From a fan's perspective, from a Mark's perspective, I like to go to shows and laugh.
Absolutely. We want to be entertaining. It's entertainment.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like seeing even heels, and so you have some guys like, I don't do comedy. It's like, dude, then you don't do human. You don't do human emotion. Like, it's funny. And comedy can take different forms. Like Angle had that like kind of like making fun of himself kind of comedy,
Self-deprivation, right?
Yeah. That's right. Self-deprivation. Thank you. But like Booker's was like exaggeration. Like he would get really spun up. I mean, and I don't know.
You got the spinneroonie, man.
What's that?
You got the spinneroonie, man. So
spinneroonie. That's right. Yeah.
And the thing was, it's like you look back and, he was outside of The Rock. He was one of the only top African-American guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he held that mantle, whether we said it or not, whether it was said or not. So there was always, and I don't remember a time where it may have been a racial undertone, but there was always still some type of undertone just because he was black and he was a top guy where there was no one else that was a top guy, and like King Booker, right? It's hard to put I don't know, man. It's hard to say what that undertone was, but there's definitely something there. And I think that like sometimes Austin would kind of tap that undertone a little bit because he's a Texan from, North Texas, and he talks like that, and he's a redneck, right? So you have the redneck and the African American. So there's already like a little bit of an undertone there. And I don't know if they really didn't play on it, but we just knew it was there.
I mean, in my opinion, that's the best kind of heat. It's when it's unspoken, right? You can feel it in the ring. You can feel it during the promos. That's PhD level wrestling, as you call it.
Yeah, it's like psychology, like, master's level psychology. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, Booker, I saw a WCW documentary, the same one I told you about earlier about Booker. And they asked him, because I guess it was interesting because his championship, him getting his first championship in WCW, if memory serves me correctly, it was basically that match where Hogan had his like meltdown in the ring, right?
Yep.
And Vince Russo.
That doesn't work for me, brother. Yep.
That's right.
That was it. Yep. That was it. And Vince Russo came out and was like, this is why this company and blah, blah. Like it went off the rails.
I mean, in that regard, I know it's fashionable to hate on Vince Russo. I'm one of those guys that likes to do that. But like Vince was the reason that Booker got that shot.
Yeah, Booker was Vince's guy. Like Vince, I think Vince, for all his recklessness and just being an idiot, I think he saw something like, hey, we can have the first African-American champion here. And it's time. It's time. And obviously that didn't work for Hogan. So it was what it was. And looking back, you can kind of read the tea leaves, 2020 hindsight. But yeah, man, and the whole locker room, this tells you about Booker's character. The whole locker room loved it and was rooting for Booker. When he got hit, they said Booker, you probably saw this on documentary. I saw it too. When he got back to the locker room, everybody was there to congratulate him and hug him.
Yeah, that's right.
Because they knew he deserved it and they knew it was his time.
Yeah.
And I think they knew what it meant, you know?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I remember like Hogan came out and said, this is the reason why this company is in the shape it's in. I mean, that's so unprofessional. But that's maybe the way I felt when I saw it. Maybe that was a work. Maybe they were trying to generate that. It's all a big mystery. And that's what I love about wrestling.
Of course, Bischoff now is like, oh, that was a work. We talked about that. Like, no, you didn't. Shut up. Like, yeah. Just Hogan.
A work shoot. Is that what they call it? Where it blends together a work that turned into a shoot or a shoot that turned into a work, something along those lines.
Yeah. I think that was a straight shoot, man. I think that Hogan was pissed. He got poopy pantsed and that'd be Hogan being Hogan. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I'll never forget it, but you're right, man. I mean, that was a special night and everyone loves to hate on Russo. He's part of that legacy, man.
Yep. Absolutely, man. Absolutely, brother. So Booker T just overall, I think he's just underrated, man, underappreciated. And he's still, like I said, he's still developing and working wrestling today. So I think he's a pillar in the, pro wrestling fraternity and community. And I just don't think he gets enough love. He needs to get his flowers. Yeah. Though he is in the WWE Hall of Fame twice. As a matter of fact, 2 or 3 times. He's there with the Harlem Heat as a solo, and then I think he's in there again for some reason. I forget.
Yeah. Any like special matches that you remember Booker T having as personal favorite?
My personal favorite isn't that match, but it's the dang grocery store vignette with Austin. Like that's ingrained in my mind. That was so good. It was so good. Man, I'm going to watch that again tonight. It was so good. And it was all ad-libbed. Right. It was between those two you have so much talent between Austin and Booker T where those guys can just ad-lib that. Like, hey, man, I need you guys to go in the grocery store and just get in a fight. Okay. And they just ad-lib, and he's like, price check, price. It was just every little ad-lib was so funny, Mm-hmm. And also look at the one where Booker T's playing. Remember, Austin's chasing him around, trying to find him, and he's like playing bingo.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then Austin's like, he's at the Austin's at the bingo with the balls. He's like Austin 316, and Booker T's looking at his card like Austin 316, huh? What? It was just hilarious. Oh my gosh, it's hilarious.
Yep. Yeah. Those were special times. He has a classic, when you think about Booker T and the pop, was it sucker? What is it he says again?
Can you dig it, sucker? Can you dig it, sucker?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, man, that was his pop. Like that's when he came out because the WrestleMania or Royal Rumble here, you just heard, can you dig it, sucker? And the whole stadium just blew up. It was crazy. Like I honestly, at first I didn't know what was going on because the pop was so big.
Yeah.
And then I heard the horns in the background, and I was like, "Oh shit, Booker T!" And then you see Booker T run. So, yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. Can you dig it, sucker?
I mean, so you can't talk about Booker T without talking about Charmel.
Yeah.
Do you think that she's one of the most underrated managers? I mean, do you like the manager works? Are you a big fan of that?
I do for certain characters, and I think when he was King Booker, it worked perfect. Now Sherry was the manager with the Harlem Heat.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was another untouched on. So you have the Harlem Heat, which are 2 African-American brothers that are pro-black and they're always talking about race stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not always, but they did. And they're supposedly from Harlem, right? And their manager was a white lady, Sensational Sherry, right? Yeah, so you had that, man. And that was, just undertones galore.
Yep.
And then, he gets to the WWE, or even before that, I think when he became solo, his, now wife was his manager. I think she was a wrestler too. She held her own too. She's in the Hall of Fame as a single female wrestler. So yeah, man, I enjoyed it, man. I think it worked, especially when he was King Booker. You can't be a king by yourself and not have a manager or, and a helper.
Yeah.
So Yeah.
I mean, you talk about, I had a funny exchange with a friend of mine today, um, who's also a big wrestling fan. And he was talking to me about, our conversation about politics and culture and does it have a place in the ring, et cetera. And it was an interesting conversation. We should actually bring him on for like a different perspective. But
Yeah.
like one thing I mentioned to him was, you remember back in 1994, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, right? I mean, that was Jim Cornette's promotion, and they were doing some wild racial shit there with the gangsters, right? You remember those
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah. It was, New Jack. Was New Jack in Smoky Mountain?
He was. New Jack and Mustafa Saeed.
Yeah. Like New Jack was, he's got that famous promo where after OJ got arrested,
That's right.
he's like, keep it going. Good work, brother. 2 down.
That's right.
Something like that. I was like, oh, God.
Yeah. He's like, I hate coming here. There's tobacco spit and rednecks everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, and like, that's controversial, right? We all know why it's controversial. We don't need to, but they were talking about something that was really there.
Right. Right. And then just right after OJ got arrested for murdering,
Right.
Nicole and the other guy, man, like he was like, good job, OJ, keep it up, something like that, like 2 down,
Yeah.
It's 2 less
Yeah.
we have to worry about. Golly, man.
Yeah. I mean, it was unhinged. And I mean, and like, I react to that in 2026. I'm like, right?
Dude, I die laughing at that, man. I can't lie.
Yeah, of course I was laughing my ass off. But what made me laugh wasn't like the caricature of these guys. What made me laugh was the reaction of people around me, right? That's what made me laugh. It's like, dude, this is really getting under your skin, man.
Oh, they were getting mad. Yeah. They were getting really mad.
Oh yeah. And again, like I think that kind of stuff has a place in the business even today, and it's nowhere to be found.
Absolutely. It's not, there's no edge,
Yeah.
And the thing with New Jack and just him, like that was 99% real.
Mm-hmm.
1% maybe made up, 1% maybe, amplified, but that was just New Jack because he was just an unhinged person altogether. Anybody that wrestled or back in those days would told you that. So yeah, he played his part, man. He played it well. And I think it was just authentic to him. Just like the great characters, it's, mostly authentic, and it's just a, enhancement of their character.
Yeah. And I guess one of the problems, and you know me, I'm not like a social justice warrior or whatever. I don't really have any, I just kind of view things for the way they are, right? Probably getting myself in trouble for even saying that stuff. But like,
We're good, man.
But like one of the problems with making a racial element, particularly for, and again, I say this as a white man who's never walked a mile in a black man's shoes, so I'm just sharing my feelings on it. The problem is if you make something racial, then it becomes something that particular wrestler will probably end up carrying for the rest of his career. Whereas white talent doesn't have that necessarily, unless they come out and say something in a shoot that, like Terry Bowles, right? Or Hulk Hogan, right?
Yeah. Like,
you know what I'm saying?
You make a great point, because to this day, Booker T doesn't like talking about Hulk Hogan, I'm coming for you.
Right.
Anytime it's asked or brought up, he's just like, he doesn't want to be remembered for that. Even though it was, one of the most memorable moments of his career, he doesn't want to be remembered for that.
Right. I mean, like I remember like Ron Simmons, I was watching, he and JBL were talking about their time with APA, and those guys loved each other. Right.
Yep. Absolutely.
And I think there were some conversations and creative about maybe doing some racial stuff, creating like a racial angle. And Ron didn't want to do it because he didn't want that to be the thing that defined his legacy. Right. So to me, that's the challenge, particularly for black talent, right? Is that
I don't think JBL wanted to do it either. Like, I don't think he
didn't want to do it because he didn't want to get his ass kicked in the ring by, I don't know, like as we think about these issues and these different storylines, you have to think about the unintended consequences for a talent and their career. Maybe they want to pursue other angles. So it may be really good for heat and for guys like you and me who enjoy that kind of thing. But then from a talent perspective, it could be career defining in a way that maybe you don't want it to become. And I guess on the other side, if you're on the other side of that racial angle, people are going to think this is a shoot. This isn't a work. This dude's like a real like racist, you know?
Right. Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying 100%, and the thing is you can get a quick pop real quick pop or instant pop, crazy pop, but in the long run, is it worth it? Right? If in
Yeah.
the long run, if that's all you're known for, it's probably not worth it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I
unless
mean,
there's some great storytelling where it's a long game. If the WWE or whoever has a long game story where, I don't know, there's some redemption in there, right? You have this
right.
racist angle, not totally racist, but racist angle. Let it play out, but then there's some type of coming around and there's a redemption in there. I think that might, that's storytelling, like that's advanced storytelling. If you can create a story like that and have characters like that,
Yeah.
especially in wrestling, that can come back around. But yeah, I get how, Booker T feels about that segment, just not want to be known for it and just not want to do that stuff because you don't want to be known for it. You don't want that to define your career.
Yeah. I mean, remember Eddie Guerrero, I remember Kurt, I think it was Kurt Angle had some promos.
Yeah,
Dude.
Yep. It was with Eddie Guerrero, Lie, Cheat, and Steal.
That's right.
Yeah. Hilarious, man. That's so good,
maybe
dude. It was so good.
It was the golden years. But to your point, saying it without saying is probably for a really dialed in Mark say, I see what they're doing here.
Right.
That's gold, right?
And you saw it with Stone Cold and The Rock, and you saw it with Stone Cold and Booker T. Just because Stone Cold was that Texas redneck, right? He had that Southern accent. It was always there. The undertones were always there. Whether he didn't say anything. I don't think he probably ever said anything racist or even tiptoeing the line racist.
Mm-hmm.
But just those undertones were there just because of, his color and where he came from and just how he conducted himself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think his marks, we were always waiting for it.
Yeah. But
you know what I'm saying? You know
when
when it's there,
yeah.
but you're waiting for it, but it never happens. It just kind of carries and builds. And yeah, they did a great job.
Yeah. I mean, even take a look, sister company within the TKO universe. If I watch UFC pretty frequently. I'm telling you, man, they don't get up there and call each other racial names, but those undertones are there.
Oh, absolutely.
They are there, particularly when El Presidente shows up to matches and the way that different, his presence, right? I mean, as you said, it doesn't take a lot to really leverage that angle and to generate excitement about the fight. You could probably do the same sort of thing in WWE.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially that, it was, Usman and what's that one guy, man? The white guy. He's a Trumper. He's a mega. He's irrelevant now, man. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, man, those were there. Those racial. They weren't even. They were overtones. They were there, especially with the president. And just switching gears. If you talk UFC real quick, but it was weird though because John Jones, when Trump was there, did the Trump dance and was all friendly with the president. So that kind of quashed that little bit, but which made it kind of weird, but whatever.
Yeah. That's it again. It's intertwined into UFC. You see it in other sports as well. UFC, WWE, and professional wrestling. I don't want to speak to AEW. I think AEW's creative is a little edgier than WWE.
Absolutely.
They may have to go back and do some research. WWE appears to be trying to steer clear of some of that stuff, and maybe a lot of that has to do with the fact that, let's just call it what it is. Stephanie, the McMahons, they're chummy with the leadership on the right, and perhaps they don't want to lean into that because that relationship could cause problems when you're trying to tell that story. Who knows?
Yeah, that's a good angle, man. I never really thought of that. I know they're chummy to the right, and then obviously Linda McMahon's. I don't even know if it even exists anymore. The Department of Education. Right. Mm-hmm. So you have those relationships. And then also, like I said, I've said a couple times, but I'll say it again. They're a publicly traded company. They're not the boss. Their investors are the boss.
Yeah. Yeah.
Real talk, man. My real job, we have a tremendous partnership with a publicly traded company. Mm-hmm. So I get that, with Zillow, right? And it's all about, you just follow the money, right?
Yeah.
If you make this company more money, they will like you. And that's what you do. If you don't make them more money, you're fired. There's no in between, so.
Right. But Hollywood goes head first into politics. Music, head first into politics. Why not wrestling?
Good question, dude.
It's a
good question.
We can't answer it here. But there's some, maybe it's because it's a combat sport entertainment. There's physical confrontation. Maybe it's the marks, the demographics of the marks. Maybe, I don't know what it is, but it seems like everyone seems to dive headfirst into it. WWE, for whatever reason, wants to steer clear of it, and I think it could generate a lot of. I think it can generate a lot of engagement and money, and make the wrestling a little edgier. So anyway,
no,
we're
absolutely.
just a couple of marks.
That's it, man. But I think it would, man. I've been saying that with Gunther the whole time, man. Like, make him, turn it up a little bit, man. Turn that
I think it's pretty obvious, man.
Eastern European, thing. Turn it up, man. Turn it up. Let's go. Like, I think it would make it. I think it'd make him a lot more interesting character, man. Because to me, he's boring.
Yeah.
Let's turn it up. And then I'm not sure if is there a Jewish wrestler that's
oh boy,
of descent that's up there. Like, I mean, man, talk about heat.
I don't think a public trading company is willing to go down that road.
Yeah. This.
I mean, it's true, man. I mean, like
This ain't the territories. I get it. Yeah.
This guy right here,
Sheiky.
I mean, when they trotted him out there during Context Matters, during a time where the United States and Iran were like, beefing. Funny how they say history doesn't repeat itself, it just rhymes. Well, it's rhyming towards a much larger conflict, but we'll push that aside for now. But that was part of the thing. He was a heat magnet, and they played on those. It was a different time then. It wasn't a public trading company. Yeah.
Yeah. Even though he wrestled for us for the Olympics.
Right.
The U.S. Olympics.
Yeah. I mean,
hilarious.
Yeah.
I guess it was pre-internet, so no one really knew.
Speaking of heat, when this guy,
when
he was, you remember we went to Los Angeles and played his bagpipes?
I remember blackface. He went half blackface.
I remember that too. When he was, before he got to WWE, his gimmick was, of course, playing the bagpipes. And I guess he was beefing with down in Los Angeles with some of the Mexican American superstars. And he was, he was not well liked as a heel. And so he said he was going to, as a form of apology, was going to come out and he was going to play the Mexican national anthem with the bagpipes. Well, I'll stop there. He didn't play the Mexican national anthem. He played something else. And I don't know how he survived. There were some really pissed off people that really wanted to get him. and I think that talent safety could potentially be another area that we didn't think about, which is you don't know the mental health status of the people in the crowds, people in society, people who think that this whole thing is a shoot day in and day out. That could be another thing.
Back in the day, they thought it though. Like we all thought it was a shoot the whole time.
Right.
Where there's all kinds of stories back in the territories with dudes almost getting stabbed and shot at and just whatever, man. So I guess it was just obviously a different time back then. Where these guys now are they're professionals. Like real professionals, wives, kids. It's yeah,
you're right. And in the era of social media, you can't have a house show that no one knows about. Impossible.
Yeah, that's true. I never even thought of that. Yeah.
And you're right. These people have children. And if people at school think that daddy is a racist,
yeah,
bad.
It's tough for the kids.
Yeah. But by the same token, if you are really a racist and you hate the baby face because he or she is a different color than you could do something to injure, kill someone. There are some crazy people out there. And when that kind of stuff gets people's emotions stirred up, I
don't think that type of heat is worth it,
So I think we've hit upon we've touched around the value of it, and we've maybe talked about some reasons why maybe we'll let people at home tell us what you think.
Or you could be like Cody Raheem Rhodes and just play both sides.
Okay, I have to admit, I had to ask my wife to explain that joke to me. He's like, "Are you serious, man?"
It was hilarious. And then Brandy, his wife on I guess Twitter, had a little emoji that winked,
Yeah.
They played that so good. He played it so good. I was dying laughing.
Of course, you and I both were doing other things. We didn't watch SmackDown in live. We watched the next day, hence my urgency thing. So you texted me and said, "Hey dude, I'm hearing that Cody turned heel." And I almost stopped working so I can go check it out. And I didn't do it. But then it's he didn't turn heel. He just made a Raheem joke.
Yeah, he just, honestly, that promo he did was top tier for him. That was one of the best promos I've heard him.
Yeah.
Like, he was amped up, he was angry. And that's why, like, you know, and I just saw it, I wasn't watching live, but I just saw my feed blowing up with Cody Raheem Rhodes and him just going off on the mic. I'm like, oh damn, is he turning heel?
He was pissed,
you
man.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was good.
So I think if he turns heel, man, I think that would be epic. Epic if he turns heel. Probably now's not the right time, but I think building up, they can turn him heel at the right time. He'll have a great run as a heel.
Yeah. And I think your boy Fatu, I see him as a heel, but not a heel who only goes off against like baby faces. I can see him just like going in beast mode on everyone, like the Road Warriors used to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're after everyone.
Yeah, like he's a sort of likable heel just because he's so dominant and he's a monster. Absolutely, man. That dude is so good, man. So good. I'm so happy he's finally getting a push. You know, I was hoping he'd win the Royal Rumble, but I think he's getting a solid push, and I think he's going to be, you know, a belt contender here in the next for the next few years. Yeah. He'll hold a strap here soon.
Particularly, I don't know if the injury bug is going around right now with the WWE.
Braun Breaker, man.
I mean, that was wild. That was wild. Got Breaker out. I mean, it's a good number of talent out. Chelsea Green is out, and as we're heading into Naomi,
and
that's right.
And now that Naomi is out, you know, damn, her husband, man, I can't think of his name. Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso is out. You got to take care of family, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. So, you know, Jimmy Uso is probably going to be out for a while or out here and there. So, yeah, just there's a lot of talent that are kind of missing in action. I don't know, like we said, referenced when we first started, Jade, I'm not sure what she's doing, if she's injured or trying to come back to, nurse an injury to come back to health or whatnot, why she hasn't wrestled. But
yeah. I mean, that's another theory, right? That you've got some of your big name talent people that are getting pushes, people that are getting ready to go over in major ways who are getting injured heading into your biggest event of the year. And if you're like Triple H, you have to be like kind of pulling, well, he has no hair, pulling out his beard hair, thinking about like the storylines heading into it and changes you have to make. This is where, like, I would imagine the professionalism of the talent comes to play, where you can literally turn to someone day of and say, hey, I need you to do this, figure it out. Right. That's where that's the value of working with professionals, having people that are the best at what they do.
Absolutely. I think no, you bring up a great point, man. So like, say you have talent X and your story for talent X is to win the Royal Rumble or SummerSlam and eventually wrestle WrestleMania for a title, right? You have this whole like 6-month plan, right? Just to build up this one guy. And then he gets injured halfway. Now what do, right? You have to have a plan B or a plan C. But I think what worked great, it's so planned out nowadays. It's so scripted. But what worked great back in the day, and that I think what's missing is talent themselves had so much power over their own story. And they literally kind of played it almost week to week with the storylines and what was working, what wasn't. If it's working, dude, we're going to push it to the next week. If it's still working next week, we're going to do this. So it's like show to show type thing. Whereas I think it's more of like a 6-month type plan. So it feels less organic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. Like, so back in the day, WCW or Ruthless Aggression or Attitude Era, like, hey, we're going to try this week. If the crowd pops, we're going to push it. If it don't pop, we're going to go back to the drawing board. Right. And then that wrestler can go to the writers or Vince McMahon or whoever's in charge and be like, no, I don't like that. What about this?
Mm-hmm.
Let me try this. Hey boss, can I try this? This is going to kill.
Mm-hmm.
And they just had more autonomy back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had their careers just more autonomous of their career other than just relying on 200 writers in the background to give them a storyline.
Yeah. Great point, man. Great point. And it's obvious because like when I've never wrestled, so I'm just speculating, but if you have a storyline you have writers like basically writing out your promo, and I don't know if that's how it is, whatever.
I think it probably depends on the talent, Depends
on the talent, right? But like things, once you step out of that curtain and you head down that ramp and you go into the ring, there's a whole bunch of stuff that can happen. The crowd's reaction, someone gets hurt, there was a botch, something happens that forces the talent to have to make a call, right?
Right.
But now
what do you do?
After watching Unreal, thank you for blowing up kayfabe. Now, after watching Unreal, now I know that the stuff comes through the ref, right? The ref relays. So you literally have like this 400-foot screwdriver coming back from gorilla position. That's like basically not just like
telling you what to do.
Telling you what to do. Like, to me, that takes I don't know. Intuitively, I want to say that takes something away from the product.
Absolutely, it does. So back in the day, if you look at the Austin and Rock feud, like the best feud ever in my eyes, like all their promos were off the cuff, right? All of their promos. They didn't have one promo written out for them. And they say that, like, I didn't know what we were going to do or say till that night. And I had to feel the arena. I had to feel what was going, like they went off by crowd feel a lot of times, especially even in the ring, like what moves they would do went off the crowd. Whatever they were feeling off the crowd, that's what they would do. And that's just so high level. And I think, talent now doesn't get a chance to do that. So it's more robotic. It doesn't feel natural or doesn't feel real. It's just more robotic.
Yeah. And here's like, I don't know. I know you and I have a different opinion on Becky Lynch. I like Becky Lynch a lot, but I have to admit, I think she's not really being a good heel right now. And I know she has it in her. I know she can do it. It seems like the way that she's saying things and she acting crazy, that's not her. It seems like she appears as a mark. It looks like she's trying to do something that maybe she's not completely bought into.
Right.
If you told
too hard, yeah.
If you told Becky Lynch, go out there and just freaking piss people off, I guarantee you she would probably crush it.
Yeah,
right?
just let her cook,
But what she's doing out there right now just looks so unnatural. And it almost looks like it's been manufactured from above.
Yeah. It's like,
I'm not happy. I'm not happy. It's the wrong word. I'm not feeling Becky Lynch as a heel right now. I know it's in her. I love a good heel, but she's out there and I don't know. And I think it speaks to your point. Like some people
has to feel authentic, man.
Yeah.
Has to come from the innards,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Being a heel, you can't be like so over the top where you're like, dude, this is like now, even me knowing this is wrestling and sports entertainment. This is
no,
ridiculous.
she's annoying as a heel to me. Like it's annoying to me because you can tell it's not natural, man. And she's just kind of trying too hard,
Yeah. And I know she's got it in her, but yeah. Well, I guess for our folks at home, just a reminder, we're up on socials. I think we got our first like, Charles.
Hell yeah. Yeah, Instagram's doing well. I appreciate y'all love on Instagram. Getting about 400 views on one of the shorts. So definitely getting some love on Instagram. Love it. We got some local stuff going on. This weekend, I have my local Rumble, River City Wrestling. It's going to be like, I got front row tickets. It's going to be fun. I was expecting to go there, drink some beer and watch some wrestling. However, I learned it was at a Lutheran church. So I'm not sure if there's going to be beer. There might be communion wine. I may try to get some of that. We're going to see about that. But Jesus did turn water into wine. So you have that. But what's cool about it, I realized it is the Rumble is skipping me, men and women.
Intergender.
There you go. It's intergender. So they don't have a separate women's and men's Rumble. It should be interesting. Yeah. I'm excited to see how it plays out and how that intergender kind of works.
Yep. Yeah. Interesting. Have you ever had ringside before?
No, first time.
Awesome. Yeah. I've never either. I hear that if you're positioned right and there's a good solid chop, you can get some sweat, maybe even some.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely hopefully get some action. Yeah, get a little bit of action down there. You
taking your girl with you? Is she gonna go?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Awesome.
So it should be fun, man.
Good deal.
Look forward to it. And then that same day, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase is coming here. So I'm getting his autograph as well at a separate event. Never met him before. So that should be fun. And, he was one of my favorite heels back in the day.
Yes.
So
we can talk about
every man has a price. Yeah. Every man has a price, man. That's the truest saying ever. Every man has a price.
That's right.
You didn't understand it as a kid, man. I understand it now.
Yeah. Hey, man, as heels, the subtlety of being a heel, you don't have to act crazy or insane. Jake the Snake and Ted DiBiase, they nailed it, man. Just, they didn't have to speak out, they didn't have to yell, and they just had to be that.
Rick Rude was another one. Rick Rude, man, it was just, he didn't have to say a word.
Yep. Right.
He didn't have to say a word. So
now your
so
boy
good.
whose t-shirt you have, he was a talking heel.
Steiner math, man, never lies, dude. It's always correct.
Greatest promo ever.
That math checks out, dude, which is insane, man. One of my favorites.
Yep.
One of my favorites, man. And I'm still. I need to send that invite. The lawyer that was a WCW lawyer during those days. He was their traveling lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
I know him, and he's here in San Antonio. He's a practicing real estate agent and also attorney still. But yeah, we're gonna have him on the podcast here soon. So
that's gonna be awesome. Great.
Yeah. From what I hear, like Steiner was he's a smart individual. People don't realize, just because he got the big yells and he's got the big muscles and he just kind of sounds like a meathead. But they say like behind the scenes, like that's a smart individual. He like went to University of Michigan, graduated from University of Michigan, him and his brother, like they're like very intelligent people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm a fan. I mean, he was crass and offensive and he said things that I wouldn't say.
Big bad booty daddy.
But he had me rolling, man. And the dude was a beast in the ring. Like he could beat people's ass too. Like he was a tough guy and he was a shooter. He was like a legit tough guy. So
yeah, him and his brother. Absolutely. Him and Rick.
Awesome. Well, great talking with you, my man.
Cool, brother. What have you looked into what's coming up in DC as far as local?
Yep. Fight Club Pro Wrestling, February 21st. I'll be heading up to that up in Maryland and I'm excited about that. And I'm not on the first row. I'm on the second row. But I'll be
nice.
close to the action as well. I look forward to that.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And
how much for those tickets? Out of curiosity,
they're like $25, man.
Yeah, hell yeah, and that's a African American dominant organization, right?
The majority of their roster is African American or African. Yeah.
So you gonna wear your Gunther T-shirt and hat there?
I want that heat to be Yeah.
No, that should be fun, man. Absolutely. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to
blast, brother.
I'm looking forward to
blast.
It.
You bring your wife?
Yeah, she's coming. Yeah,
nice.
She'll be there as well.
Be a blast, dude.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Hell yeah. We'll report back, bro. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to hear about it, and yeah.
All right, man. Thanks, Charles. Good to see you, brother.
No, good to see you. And that wraps up episode 2. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all's support, and check us on the socials.
All right, like and subscribe and all that.
The ring, it ain't no backing down. Authentic, straight raw, ain't no gimmicks allowed. Get it hype for the crowd, talking everything wrestling. Coming at you, hosted by real deal veterans. Yeah.